Yo, what's good, basketball heads? It's your boy Crush. Let's talk about Stan Van Gundy saying that Anthony Davis has not had a better career than Dwight Howard. First off, let me say, Stan Vandy, he is Dwight Howard's ex-coach, so there might be a little bias there, but I do agree with what he's saying. When Anthony Davis was selected as one of the top 75 over Dwight Howard, I felt like that was a robbery. That was one of the biggest mistakes. AD should have been on the top 100 team, not the 75. Dwight Howard should have been on the 75. He got snubbed. He was robbed. I got to call it for what it is. So Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard should have been on the top 100 team. So Stan Van Gundy believed that Dwight Howard had a better career than Anthony Davis. And I feel the same way. They're both great players, but Dwight Howard led his team to the NBA Finals. Remember, Dwight Howard was the one who knocked LeBron out the playoff. LeBron could have possibly made it to another Finals pre-Miami, but Dwight Howard was in his way. And Dwight Howard sent him home, and we never got to see that matchup. LeBron versus Kobe. That was supposed to be the matchup that never happened because LeBron didn't make it because of Dwight Howard. He knocked him out the playoff. We all know Dwight Howard's personality is a little goofy at times. He plays around, and a lot of times through his career, his personality and who he is hurt his entire value and how the media and others looked at him. But prime Dwight Howard was a monster. We can't lie about this. Dwight Howard in his prime, he was a monster. He won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in a row consecutively, back to back to back. So he won 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards, led his team to the NBA Finals where he fell to Kobe, which is Kobe. But Dwight Howard, man, he had a great career. The sad part, he got overshadowed by, his antics, him just not taking the game too seriously. And at times being a goofball, that kind of hurt his legacy and how others looked at him. But if you put aside his personality and just focus on him, the player, and what he have done, the man was a beast, man. In his prime, he was a beast. And I do agree he had a better career than AD. Because AD got with LeBron and they won the bubble championship, which they won with Dwight Howard. Remember, without Dwight Howard, there's no bubble championship. Let's not forget that. The reason why the Lakers were able to get it done because they had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, 2 centers, basically 2 twin towers, holding it down on the defensive end. And also remember, Dwight Howard was the one who intimidated Nikola Jokic, roughed him up basically, and turned the tide for them to get to the finals. If Dwight Howard didn't put pressure on Nikola, got in his head mentally and just got real physical with him, the Lakers probably wouldn't have made the finals. Dwight Howard was huge in the Lakers series. That whole run, even though he was a pivotal part of why they won, he still doesn't get the respect. The same respect they give AD, LeBron, he doesn't get that same respect. Because obviously he's not the number 1 or the number 2 option. So whenever they talk about the bubble championship, it's always AD and LeBron. LeBron and AD. Somehow Dwight Howard wasn't on the team. He wasn't an integral part of why they won. But back to the situation at hand. Prime Dwight Howard had a better career than Anthony Davis. Not far off, but I think he had a better career than Anthony Davis. He led his team to a finals. He defeated LeBron James, the supposedly Kang. Dwight Howard beat him. So I agree with Stan Van Gundy in that sentiment. So once again, AD was chosen for the top 75 over Howard. And that was a huge mistake. That was one of the biggest mistakes ever. Davis don't belong on the top 75. It was too early. He's a top 100. So is Damian Lillard. They're both top 100. But somehow they got voted to the top 75, which was a mistake. Till this day, I still think that was a mistake. And I agree with Stan Van Gundy. That should have never happened. Howard should have made the top 75. So the league basically disrespected this man, undervalue, undermine his career and what he have done for the NBA and what he has done in the NBA. And it's sad, man. But that's what happened when you play with LeBron, because AD, plays with LeBron. Of course, he's going to get the nod. Oh, he's a top 75. Yes, he belongs on the top list, but the top 100, not the 75. It was too early. Howard should have made that list. Vince Carter should have possibly made that list over Damian Lillard. So the NBA made some mistakes, as far as that list and who they added to the list. But what's done is done. So Stan Van Gundy said there's no way Anthony Davis' career has been better than Howard's. And I agree with him. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I don't think AD had a better career than Howard. Whether you like Howard or not, whether you feel AD is a better player or not, if you saw prime Dwight Howard, there's no way. And I'm being serious about this. Two noticeable omissions from the top 75 list was Dwight Howard, Vince Carter. And to me, that's a shame. Vince Carter and Dwight Howard not make the top 75? What? Damian Lillard and AD makes it? Don't get me wrong, they're both great. They're just top 100 players, not top 75. And that's the issue I have with that list. It was too early for those two players. So Stan Van Gundy said the only guys you could talk about at his peak in the league at that time was Kobe or LeBron. So he said, I think Anthony Davis is great, but at the time, they selected the NBA's top 75 anniversary team. I mean, it's not even close. So that's what Stan Van Gundy had to say. And remember, him and Dwight Howard, they had a rocky relationship. So for him to say that says a lot. And I do agree. How did they snub Dwight Howard from the list and put Dame and AD? No disrespect to Dame and AD, but Howard had a better peak. Like, the man led his team to the finals. The man defeated LeBron James. Come on, man. He ran into a monster named Kobe Bryant. And that's understandable. If it wasn't for Kobe, Dwight would have possibly won a championship in Orlando. I know Stan Van Gundy, his opinions might seem ridiculous, but come on. If you know the history and you saw Dwight Howard in his prime, he was a monster. Maybe not offensively, but overall, he was a monster. 20 plus points per game, top tier defense, rebounds. He was a monster. And I do agree. AD belongs on the top 100 list. And when you match careers up, Howard had a better career. I mean, let's be honest. The man is underrated. All his accomplishments, his accolades, he's underrated. Dwight Howard won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. AD has never won a Defensive Player of the Year. Never. That alone speaks volume. Like, the man won 3 times, back to back to back. He basically three-peated as a defensive player. Think about that. Howard three-peated as a defensive player. So yeah, I definitely feel like Howard's entire career has been, undervalued. He's underrated. His legacy is a bit tarnished, and it's sad. So here are Dwight Howard's accolades. He was the Eastern Conference champion in 2009. He's a 3-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 2009, 2010, 2011. So he three-peated. As a defensive player, Howard three-peated. He has 8 NBA All-Star selections. He has 8 All-NBA selections. He has 5 All-Defensive selections. When you compare and stack them up, look at the accolades, Howard had a better career than AD in his prime, in his peak. He did. Somehow AD made the top 75 and they snub Howard. Obviously, part of it is favoritism. It's all about likability, who they like. Let's be real. and projection. AD's going to be this, and it's plus AD played with LeBron. You got to take that into account. But Dwight Howard, in his prime, he was a better player than AD. Not offensively, but overall, he was a better player. His impact was felt. Put it like that. For a dude who's not the greatest scorer, the greatest offensive player, he sure did a lot for his team, took him to the finals. Something AD can never said he did until he joined LeBron in LA. And even then, Howard was on the team. Go figure. So this is Anthony Davis' accolades so far. 8 NBA All-Star teams. He won an NBA All-Star MVP in 2017, but remember, they didn't play any defense. The game changed. Nobody played defense, so we're not going to. He has 4 All-NBA first teams, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2020. He made 2 All-NBA defensive first team, 2018, 2020. He made 2 All-NBA defensive second team, 2015, 2017. He's a 3-time NBA block leader, 2014, 2015, 2018. So AD had a great career himself. I'm not trying to undermine AD. We know he's a monster. But in his prime, Dwight Howard had a better career. And it's the truth. It's the fact. You know, this man is undervalued, underrated. He's been underrated for years now. Even when he went to LA, they couldn't have won without him. He's a major part of why they won that championship in the bubble. Even though all the credit is given to LeBron and AD, as you expect they would. But as always, I holla. As always, we just talking basketball. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, holla at your boy. It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game. I'ma say it. It's all about the game.